And now to get to our program session, I do want to introduce Sandro Denuzio, James Norgate, and Catherine Beacom of our Police Foundations Department.
Well, welcome everybody. So glad that you've decided to look at our program. We have a fantastic justice program, including Police Foundations, which you are interested in now. We're just going to go through a short video to somewhat showcase our facilities, and then we'll have a little roundtable and you can ask some questions, some specific to your needs while you're attending or anything you've seen on the videos. So I'll just go from there.
Good day, Corey Gaffey here, lab tech for the Justice. I'm the lab tech for the Justice Studies Department here at Niagara College. We're going to do right now. We're in the simulation room. Right. I apologize for my muffling, ladies and gentlemen. We got COVID restrictions in. We follow the PPE guidelines, so I'll try my best to make sure that my voice is clear as we're talking through these masks. So here we are in the simulation lab. Okay. The purpose of this room is to take what we learn in lecture as far as geared towards crisis intervention, conflict management, right? Introductory use of force techniques, right? As we go on the room, we'll point out some references that we use here at the college that are used in the policing industry, in the security industry, in the CBSA job, as well as we have the ability and we have a department that takes care of corrections learnings as well, right? So this is all what this room is for, is that in the lecture hall, we come here in the lab and we practice the theory, right? It's under the framework of experiential learning, right? Where we practice what we've been taught from a physical standpoint, and then we have the ability not only from the instructor-student, but also student-to-student peer reviews, right? So we all learn, it's a hands-on learning technique, and it also, the bigger point, so all the equipment, the tools that the learner's gonna eventually encounter as they go off in the job, they're introduced to them here, right? So they have an understanding of this is what the tool is, this is how you hold the tool, this is what the tool is intended to do, right? So that when they get to OPC, the hope is that they're a step ahead of any other collegiate peer that didn't have that experiential learning lab. This is where we can practice techniques, practice client approaches, compliant arrests. We can practice de-escalation, right? When it comes to use of force, using cover, concealment, all those types of activities within this large space. Right? As you see going around, you'll see different things. For example, we have lots of black Parisians, right? You'll see them on. We use these to create different rooms, right? For different environments, for different atmospheres. Okay, so moving right along. Again, big whiteboards we have. We can put the information topic of the day. This big screen comes down and it becomes an interactive tool, right? Through the training lab simulation room, we have virtual reality type of interactions where we can use our kit. They're laser tuned to the scenario, and they can have a use of force de-escalation interaction in a virtual reality type of environment, okay? As we come around, right, we got our protective PPE equipment for COVID policies. You can see here, this is the advanced, our third year locker, our ALI, Advanced Law Enforcement and Investigations locker, and you can see they're all assigned their own belts, right? Blue guns, flashlights, OC spray, blue OC spray, and mechanical restraints, handcuffs, right? All assigned for the learner so they can get used to it, right? We have breakout rooms, breakout offices, also individual lockers for instructors, okay? Pylons that we use for different identifiers, right? Identify blue, identify red, identify green. When we do things like cutting the pie, slicing the pie techniques. Moving along, you can see we have the first year, second year lockers, okay? Training belts with training kit, okay? What's really nice about this, as we move into second year, you can see, guys, we have actual patrol cars. We have a police car, and we have a civilian car. So we can move these into the middle of the room and have a situation where we're performing an actual traffic stop, right? So now we're engaged in a very realistic situation of where do we park the car? What do we say? How do we phone in? What do we need to be aware of in the client's car? What are we looking for? We can play all those out, the things that we learn in lecture hall. We come here to the sim lab and we recreate the simulation and we play it out, right? Again, that experiential learning, right? Get as close to the real deal as possible before they're in the real deal, okay? Coming along the lab, you can see here in the back corner, we have a mock jail cell. Okay, with a mock, we can push these cars forward again. We can pull out the bench, and we can have a mock jail cell and a mock prison yard, right? So now our correction students are learning in an environment that they're going to be comfortable with when they go off into their job, right? An actual prison-like environment. How do you search a cell, right? What does a cell feel like? Even when you, like that's a heavy, so you get used to that boom, that heaviness. You can see two guys, if you look to the wall, right? We got the use of force continuum, right? Got the use of force continuum here, right? This is for the corrections piece. You can see the difference, the big difference is there's no firearms ability with the correctional use of force continuum. When we come around before we leave the lab, I'll show you the police use of force continuum. We have them posted all over the laboratory. Liquor license, right? A bar situation, right? So you have a mock bar, right? People are coming in, you get a call, lots of police officers, they have to deal with rowdy customers, right? So we can get glass banging, we can have registers going, people sitting on stools. How do you deal with that, right? Again, moving on, this is a really part of the lab that I enjoy. It's near and dear to my heart because it's in regards to mental health, right? How to deal with mental health. We have a mock bedroom, right? Where we'd have maybe a teenager in crisis, right? Or a conflict between a spouse, domestic conflict, and we could play it out as if we're now in a bedroom, right? Even better going forward, we can move up from the bedroom into the living room, right? Now we have a mock living room, right? Where you can see set up couches, tables, end tables, right? Coffee tables, pillows, and we can use these things. We can interact with them as any officer would, right? And then get an idea of how we would position ourselves, where we position ourselves. What if there's two officers involved, right? Does one sit down? Does one stand up? We can play it all out with the instructor giving the professional guidance, but the student getting the benefit of the experiential learning, right? Close to the real deal as possible. Okay, guys, welcome to our courtroom lab, right? It's a little bit disarrayed in regards to we're using this courtroom as double duty with COVID. We're also using it as a lab because we have to split kids up. But normally, as you can see, there's rows of desks that the student sits at, and at the front we have a mock courtroom, right? We have a mock witness stand, okay? A mock prosecutorial stand, right? And a mock judge table, right over there. The judge witness stand's over there, judge table, witness stand, okay? Again, it's a little bit sporadic because we're using space for COVID, but the important part is you can see again, as we go around on the walls, right? On the walls, you can see, even though the learner is sitting down in a courtroom atmosphere, there's still the importance, right, of the searching, the proper search, searches and arrests. Know your LAC acronym, know your MELD acronym. As we move around, you can see on their side the use of force continuum, okay? Both for the police officer and for the corrections officer, right? Big, bold, right in your face, right? The idea is that that's engraved into this learner's head by the time they graduate from Niagara College, right? They have a fundamental understanding of the use of force continuum and how to articulate the actions that they take. Okay, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. We're now here in our forensic laboratory, right? So all within the same cul-de-sac, within the same area, we have our simulation lab, we have our courtroom lab, and we have our forensic lab, okay? So that's all in a central area, make it as easy as possible for the student to know which room, where we're going, right? This one's very impressive, right? Really interesting. You can see it's a clean room, right? Room's very clean. We have metal counters, right? Very clean white shelving. This room, ladies and gentlemen, again, forensic lab. Photographing, fingerprinting, document analyzation, okay? This is what's happening in this room. Quickly, I took out, you can see every learner gets a kit. We have kits just up in the shelving. You can see here we have kits in the shelf, and in there we have swabs, we have notebooks, we have magnifiers, right? We have fingerprint ink powder, right? So we got the lift kit, right? All we need to document and analyze the lifting of fingerprints, okay? Each learner, again, it's done from, the professors who teach this course are straight from the Niagara Regional Police, who are forensic analysts themselves, right? So we have lectures right from the NRP that are doing this job online as we speak now, right? You see some empty beer bottles, right? Lift prints from beer bottles. As we move down the line, again, each student has their own laboratory space, looks much like a lab, right? Forensic lab. Each learner has their own assigned area. Also, each learner gets their own assigned kit, right? Within a backpack, right? Within the kit, we have, again, storage containers, right? And very important, very good cameras, right? They learn how to take proper photographs for evidentiary value for court, right? Based upon the policies and procedures accepted by the court, right? So they're learning right out of college, right? This is a year 3 for the ALI program. Right out of college, they're learning how to lift prints, take photographs, and then at the end of the day, they come down here and they use the magnifying machine to for document analyzation. Okay, they can blow it up from here. You can put things on the flat screen, right? Blow it up, have a look at the flat screen. What's the print looks like? What's the document look like? Looking at not only we think prints, of course, for policing. We think photographs or evidence. But document analyzation comes in big for our CBSA program, right? Our students who are going on to be Canadian Border Service agents, right? All the passport issues, right? All the identification, all the fraud that comes with ID fraud, right? This is where they learn the high level knowledge, right? 3rd year in this room here, the forensic laboratory. Okay, hello folks. We're now here in the fitness lab for the Justice Studies School. Professor Candy, a professional athletics instructor, is running it for us. And as you can see, and as you can hear, they're actually training for the physical test, for the policing test, for the PAIR test, for the prep test, whatever the acronym is for the agency. But it's the beep test, right? The beep test, a 20-meter beep test. And they're throwing in some sit-ups in between, right? So again, it's that idea that by the time that they're graduated, they're going to be doing the test no problem because they've already done the test, right? And this room, as you can see, is designed just for the Justice Studies student to get in their very best shape possible as they graduate from the program.
Great. I'm glad you got to take a bit of a look at our labs. To accompany the labs, obviously there's theory class. So theory class is a combination of taking criminal code, highway traffic act, psychology, sociology, and that sort of gets you ready to know how to incorporate that into your experiential learning inside the labs. So it's a combination piece. So your first semester, yes, you'll be in the classroom a lot, but you need to be in the classroom in order to understand the basics behind what you need to be into the labs. So that's just a snapshot. Obviously, there's a lot more to Niagara College than just those few labs. We have a lot of other spaces. Unfortunately, we can't do that right now, but I'll leave it over to Jim if you have any academic questions, and we can go from there. Jim?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I don't know that I need to explain much more than you saw in the video. I'm sure that you understand it's a 2-year program. Police Foundations is a 2-year program. At the same time, we have a program that we run for people that want to work for Canadian Border Services. And we have a program that also runs for people who want to work in private security. So there are 3 options when you start with us: Police Foundations, Canada Border Services, and private security. In your first year, the courses will be common. You will all take the same material. And then in the second year, you will specialize only in the choice you've made. And the choice you've made is Police Foundations. So in your second year, it will be all Police Foundations all the time. And in the first year, it's a common first year. So that's sort of the outline of the program. I don't know how much more I could explain other than I think if Mrs. Beecham or Mr. Dunzio has something they'd like to add to it, it might be a good time now to open it up to the question and answer, and you might get a lot more information that way by being able to direct that. So if we can open up to the Q&A, Mrs. Beecham, do you have anything to add before we start the Q&A?
No, I don't think so at this time. Just that, Niagara College is a great learning facility. Our faculty, I think, are the ones that make it a great success for students, and our simulation labs and our learning facilities are top notch. So, yeah.
Mr. D'Annunzio, anything to add before the Q&A?
No, you can just see on the picture there, you see our driving simulator. So that wasn't captured in the first presentation, but that's also part of it. Again, there's a lot going on. It's a 2-year program, and I'm sure you'll enjoy yourself. Now, what's going to happen in September? I mean, really, no one knows at this point. And hopefully by May, we'll have a decision of whether you'll be on campus or online or a combination, sort of a hybrid model. That's beyond our control. We'll do our best. We want to be in-house, as do most professors. And I think most students want to be in-house. So hopefully things will work out. At this point right now, we don't have those solid answers for you though, unfortunately. So I think there's one question there I see on the board there.
Before we head to the Q&A, I think Mavis will run the Q&A for us.
Absolutely.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Makes life easy for us. But one thing before we get to the Q&A, Mr. Nunzio brought the point. It reminded me that there's no denying that we're in the middle of COVID and the pandemic. Vaccines are rolling out. No one can give exact answers as to how much will be on campus and how much will be online. And that's an understood reality of today's society. And it's no big deal. It just is what it is. But what I want to communicate to you just before we start the question and answer is, for policing and police foundation students, in the middle of this pandemic, police departments are hiring massively. There was going to be a hiring boom in policing over the next 5 to 10 years anyway. And what the pandemic has caused is more hiring is needed. More officers retired unexpectedly. So it went from a hiring boom to being twice the size they were expecting. Why that's important for you is there's no reason to wait to get your education. You hear students talking, well, I'm going to take a year off, we're going to wait and see what happens. Well, for the students that take a year off, you're sitting around for a year doing nothing. For the students that enroll in college and start moving towards their diploma, you are going to be a year ahead of everyone that decided to wait. Because the world is not waiting for a year. The police departments need to hire today, they need to hire tomorrow, and in a month, and in 6 months, and in a year, and in 2 years, and in 5 years, and in 10 years. And you can take this, now is a time for you as a student entering college to really take advantage of what's happening in the world, which is the pandemic. There's no denying it. But how can you turn the pandemic into something positive? The way you can do it is by doing something. Enroll in college, keep moving forward with your education with the understanding that there's going to be a portion of the population that's going to wait for a year, or they're going to wait for a term. And who cares about that portion? The advantage to you is by moving forward with your education, you're ahead of all of those people. So as they wait, you move forward. It's a gigantic advantage for you when you complete your college diploma and you go and start applying to police services with the understanding that they were going to hire a lot already, and the pandemic is going to cause them to have to hire even more because of unexpected retirements. So my message to you would be, this is the time to take advantage of what's happening. There's an advantage here for you during this pandemic, and that's to keep your education moving forward and get ahead of the people that have decided, for reasons I can never understand, to wait a year. So that would be my advice. Get ahead of people, keep the ball rolling in your education, and you're going to be a year, 6 months, 2 years ahead of the people that waited for no reason at all. And on top of that, the departments are hiring huge. And that's going to be an advantage for you if you enroll quickly and get moving. Get ahead of everyone. Be the first group of graduates that those departments are looking at hiring rather than waiting. It's a really dynamic time to be a student. And the other issue that's an advantage for you around the pandemic is there's really not a whole lot to do other than focus on your school and your studies. You've got lots of time. If you're a 70% student, you're lots of time to focus on becoming an 80% student. If your marks are 80%, you've got lots of time to focus on becoming a 90% student. There's a lot of advantages to be taken with what's going on right now. Everyone always looks at the disadvantages and, oh, this is going to be, and how bad is this going to be? Who cares about that stuff? What are the advantages for you? Get ahead of the people that are waiting. Be the first one in line for the departments that are hiring massively. And enter college at a time where you have the ability to spend extra time on your school studies, to get extra good marks, to make yourself an extra good candidate for police departments down the road.
So one of our questions we have here are, what are the best courses to take in high school?
one of the areas that seems to be a little bit underrated in people's understanding of what happens in a police service. We saw the labs, we saw the action, we saw that great stuff we do, but the reality is you have to write about it at the end. You have to write reports. You can't get away from it. You're writing reports in the form of Crown briefs that lawyers are going to see, that your supervisors are going to see, that judges see, that juries see. So you have to be able to write well and in a logical manner. So English is very important in high school. And I kind of see that with the second question, do I do academic or do I do applied? Do what challenges you the most. If you're capable of doing one or the other, do it. But at least you're going to do that English program. You don't need all the Englishes to graduate, but it's to your benefit. So English is very important. Any other type of communication course is important. Law, for sure. It's not all high schools offer the law class, but if you have grade 11 law, grade 12 law, take it. It just gives you that a little step up, so you're not seeing the criminal code for the first time or the highway traffic act. So that's definitely important. The third, probably equally important as English, believe it or not, is the gym class. You saw our lab where they're running and they're doing the beat test and they're doing a few other physical requirements. All police services have a requirement for vocational testing. So you have to do a physical at some level. It doesn't matter which police service you go for, whether it's municipal, provincial, or RCMP, or for that matter, even military police. You have to pass a physical test. Now you have 2 years and we help you get ready for it. That's not an issue. You still have to make the commitment. So in high school, whether you take gym or continue at your own pace, through your own gym or your own workout routine, that's very important, because when you hit us, we're expecting you to be at a certain level of fitness and we're going to start running you through the paces. Now you'll improve, but you don't want to come in at your worst. You want to come in at your best. So my recommendation is take some sort of gym or join a gym, train throughout the summer so that when you hit us in September, that doesn't become a stressor for you. All right. So those are the three areas: law, English, and gym.
And I would add to Mr. D'Annunzio's answer too about joining a gym is amazing advice. If there's an issue now that it's hard to join a gym because some of them aren't open, again, don't use that as an excuse. There's lots of things you can do in your house to get in shape until the gym's open. There's lots of areas you can go. You can ride a bike. If you can drive, you can take your car to go to an area that's secluded and you can run and you can train. As you're moving forward into college, find the reason why it will work, not the reason that it won't work. Well, Mr. D'Annunzio said to join a gym, they're not open now. Okay, well, until they open, there's a million things you can do in your house. Push-ups, sit-ups, burpees. You have the entire internet there to look at videos on how you can train at home. You can buy a bike and go ride a bike. If you've got a car, you can drive somewhere that's secluded that you can run and train. Watch a Rocky movie and watch how Rocky trained. Go and do that. He was never in a gym. He's outside doing things all the time. There's a way to be creative and have fun with this kind of stuff and still get in shape. And then when the gym's open, you can provide the more structure and get more specific about your training. But don't use the pandemic and the gyms are closed as, well, I can't get in shape. Find the reason why you can get in shape. Find the reason why you can start to improve your reading and your writing skills, right? Use this time to figure out how to do stuff, not how not to do stuff. There's lots of ways to get in shape before the gym's open. And then as Mr. D'Annunzio said, once they open, then you join the gym and take it to another level. But get started today.
And if just to follow up, Jim had mentioned, get online and check it out. Specific to policing, look up PREP test, PREP, or ATS test. You'll see what's required specifically of the type of testing that goes on in the various policing departments. So at least gives you an idea of what kind of condition you should be in or what you're looking at when you come in September. So PREP and ATS.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I know this pandemic does make it really easy to lose motivation. So that's some really great words of encouragement there. So we do have another question, more on the general side. So I'm an academic student. Should I continue in the academic stream or should I switch to applied if I want to take police foundations? Now, I think I can really answer that for you. Really depends on where you're applying out of high school right now. So if you are applying to university as well as college, you of course need those U-level courses. But one thing to note is when applying for college, you don't get any extra credit or anything for those U-level courses. They do look at UNC level courses the same and equal. So that's really a personal decision there. But if you have any questions about that or need additional guidance, I really encourage you to connect with our student services department as well.
And I can also add to Mavis's answer that we have a ton of students out of our program that get hired. The reason to continue education is to become a better person and a better applicant. And to come to the college, I've been doing this 20 years now. So I can tell you, I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students get hired in policing. So if you come to the college, does it make you a better applicant for police departments? It absolutely does. If your dream and aspiration is to become a police officer, is the college going to help you to get to that? Yes, they are. The college diploma is going to help you to get hired, and then you bring the rest of it to the application process. And oddly enough, I know the college program works and the diploma program works at Niagara College because I'm a graduate. I graduated from Niagara College, a 2-year diploma back with policing. It was called law and security back when I did it. I got hired and I was a police officer for 10 years. So there's someone sitting with you right now that went to Niagara College, just like you're going to do in September, took the 2-year program, got a diploma, and I became a police officer. And now I'm back at the college teaching again. So it works. If you want to become a cop, take the program. Is it going to help you? Absolutely.
Perfect. We have another question there. So should you have your level C first aid and standard CPR training prior to going into the course?
You don't need it to get into our program. It's nice to have, and you're going to need it eventually. So we offered, over the 2 years, you have opportunity to get it. We hold several weekends where you can get that sort of thing. You can get your firearms license. But if you have it, it's always great. At the end of your first year, you're actually qualified based on your studies to apply for your security license. So Catherine would help you with that at that point. But at the end of your first year, the courses you've taken combined with first aid and CPR give you your security license so that if you want to work in the industry through the summer or even through the school year, that's required to work for any security company nowadays. So it's a nice to have, and it's one less thing to do while you're at school and you're involved in all the other courses you're taking.
Absolutely. Are there any more questions as far as attendees? You can type it down in the Q&A there. If nobody has a question, I actually have a question. For high school students exiting, graduating this year, are there any extracurriculars or volunteer placement that you would recommend that they do? Would something like that help them out in the future?
It definitely does. And we also have opportunities for volunteering once you attend. Now, realistically, because of the pandemic, a lot of that's dried up at this point. We're hoping that in September, with the world coming back online, we'll be able to offer it. But at any given time, we will post volunteer opportunities for students. And one nice thing is we kind of supervise it. We get you involved with it. We get you connected with the people. It could be everything from the Nice Dogs games to parades to all sorts of community events. And we catalog that for you so that when you actually graduate, not only do you get a transcript for your grades, you'd also get a secondary transcript that would list all your volunteer opportunities that you've accomplished. So you might have some students end up with 0 hours, some end up with 300 to 400 hours. And that's something that you officially that you can present to potential police services. And again, they're looking at you and you're showing that you're very service-minded and community-oriented. So it definitely is a piece of the puzzle, along with some of the other things that we've mentioned today.
All righty. Well, if we don't have any questions, that does formalize and conclude our program session for today. So I do thank you for attending today. And I definitely encourage you to visit all of the other items that we have going on today virtually. So definitely take a virtual tour, connect with any of our academics, connect with the student. If you have any questions about financial aid or next steps, we have our financial aid department on site today as well. But thank you so much for joining us today. And as always, if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. But thank you and have a wonderful day.